originally allocated that. And this 17,000 should not disturb anything. We also are doing a lot better, I think, with some of the infrastructure funds, even in the water and sewer area than what we anticipated. So there should be some additional funds there.
The concern I have is the work is going to be done at Baker Lake, and I feel that this is a project that should have been discussed between the two committees of Public Property and Public Works to move forward with. Because, you know, I've walked that path many times, and I went down there again Sunday and walked around, and the path really isn't in that bad a shape. And, you know, and I know that, speaking with Superintendent, that sealing it would give us a few more years on it, but there's really no guarantee of what that can do for us. What I would like to do is table this for the fact that I think our two committees could come up with a better plan where we could take that $17,000, because over the next 5 years, we're probably gonna have to redo something and tear that up anyway and resurface, not resurface, but basically reconstruct the whole thing. And to do that would probably cost between $35,000 to $40,000 approximately. And if we were to take this $17,000 this year that they want to take and do that with, and then budget another, say, the rest of it, if it's $40,000, even $35,000 to $40,000, budget that out of our committee for next year, for 2014, and we'd be able to reconstruct that entire pathway with those funds combined. Instead of, I feel it's kind of a waste to just resurface it at $17,000 when we're probably gonna have to tear it up in 5 years anyway.
Well, I don't see just letting it go either.
But it's not in that bad a shape, and I don't think it's a,
Well, then why would you think it's gonna have to be redone in 5 years?
well, if it's something that we're going to seal now, and we're able to probably get 2 to 3 more years out of it, if, like Superintendent said, depending on the weather, and coming up with some kind of a plan where if in 5 years we need to do something, at least we could at least plan it now and invest the money and just redo the whole path. It would save instead of having to scrape that up in 3 years, and I really don't think it's worth it to resurface at this point.
Well, I do, and, you know, you said 5 years and then you said 3 years.
Well, I'm just giving you the quotes from the
It
superintendent.
is an area that needs some work. It is something that we want to look nice. Instead of letting it deteriorate for 2 or 3 more years, I think we spend the money and get it resurfaced.
First of all, what I'm reading here, it says to seal it. We're not resurfacing.
You're right. Yeah, that's exactly
We're
right.
sealing. In other words, they're going and putting oil on it, filling in the cracks and sealing it. They're not resurfacing.
No.
So there's a difference between resurfacing and sealing. And all blacktop jobs that I know of, even parking lots, every so often, every so many years, they do reseal them. I mean, so I think it's just standard procedure on a blacktop job. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a construction man, but I do see them doing it a lot.
It's a preventive maintenance measure is all it is. It'll replace some of that oil that was lost, or the AC that was lost from weather, as I mentioned to you earlier. I mean, it's one of the preventive measures that can be done.
Yeah, I'd like to, I guess, hear a little more information from the city engineer or yourself from that standpoint. What would a total restoration cost? I think Alderman Perez said in the $30,000 range.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a lot more than that.
Well, the number that we talked about earlier was pretty much for just material. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily include any other ancillary items that would have to go into that could possibly come out with the bike path being completely resurfaced and everything like that. Just an asphalt cost right now, I'm figuring probably between $35,000 to $40,000. And then you could potentially have, you know, base repairs and all kinds of other things that would have to take place just because of some of the different freeze-thaw cycles we've seen in the past few years. So it could be $40,000, it could be lumped in with other projects to make those numbers come down a little bit, just as in general. But it could most likely cost a little more than $40,000 to do it, would you might guess. That's just asphalt costs that we were talking earlier. So, what that number is up on, I don't know, but.
Well, what would your recommendation be?
At this point in time, as I told Alderman Perez earlier, it would probably be, it's in a good life cycle spot to be seal coated. It's in pretty good condition. It'll get us 3, 4 more years and however long before we have to redo it. But good spot to do this. There's only a little bit of rattling on the top. Few spots that maybe need a little more repair, but nothing dire. I mean, it's a good spot to do it.
I just think with another $20,000 investment, even 25 or 30,000 over the next couple of years, just redo the whole thing and reconstruct it would be, you know, a lot better than spending that 17 and then.
What I heard is there's 40,000 in material, there's gotta be an additional several $1,000s in labor.
Yeah, and I just want to cost us together for that, but I
And
don't know.
it's not 40,000, I mean, there's gotta be at least.
It's probably 40,000 asphalt material, and I'd have to go and actually crunch numbers and give you a true estimate to figure out.
Well, we just heard the city engineer, superintendent of public works say that it's in a good life cycle spot for maintenance. And I don't think that it's in our best interest to not maintain what we already have, no matter that we're looking to the future. So we have to make what we have last as long as possible.
Superintendent, I really hate to put you on the spot or anything like that, but would you not also recommend that it's also another possible good idea another good approach would be to spend the money and just do it over the next couple years and reconstruct it?
The bike path's 15 plus years old right now. I mean, you can probably argue either way, but if looking at saving possible money in the future, and being considering it's a hard job to construct because it's a bike path, it's specialized equipment sometimes to do that because how small it is. It'd be better to lump in if we're actually gonna do a resurface project with like a road project, so where we can try to bring down those numbers. So that's why I can argue either way, but I think at this time, we have the opportunity to seal coat it, it's in a good spot. We might as well take the opportunity to have it finished.
Your Honor? We have a motion and a second on the floor. I call the question.
Okay, well, roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Powell.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Nay.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Motion approved. Anything else from Public Works?
Do you have any?